Alright, we've got some more backyard brawl action coming at you shortly. We have two players who are currently, I believe, both 0-1. Although Shabacka we did cast last week. Rose, we've not casted before. And should be underway shortly. With the draft. Of course, this is a draft tournament, so no mirrors or anything. Well, I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the format by now. Let's open up Twitch on my phone real quick. Looks like I started this a bit early, but we get to see the draft. I don't know if the draft is interesting to people or not. I feel like there's been a lot of Milia. There's been a good amount of like Chip. It's been a good amount of like Rem Lethal. Really, seen a couple of those. It's been a smattering of most other characters. Yeah, there really hasn't been a character that's been as popular as Milia. Shabacka picking the Gold Lewis first. We've seen a good amount of Gold Lewis. I mean, we've casted 2 Andrel games, and Andrel has played Gold Lewis twice. Rose is also, I'm pretty sure, a Gold Lewis player. Oh, it's another Milia. It's so boring, man. Rose counters with Kai and Milia. Yawn. As much as I hate to say it, I am bored of Millie already. She's just always present in these matches. Just such a strong character. Really, really high quality cards. Good boost quality as well. Decent UA. Just a strong character. Good decent ultras. Or one decent ultra. Winger is kind of more of a trick shot. But what's up, Ice Pop? I would cast Millie and I will enjoy it. Well, I don't have to. Could just leave. Smile. Okay, never mind. Everything. Don't worry, guys. Everything's okay. We are casting King Knight today. And I am excited. And Rose will round things off with the Rachel. Oh man, for those of you that don't know, King Knight is one of my favorite characters. King Knight was my first ever win in Exceed as well. I actually just fought King Knight IRL. I fought Chica's King Knight IRL on Saturday. We had a little meetup, which was fun. Fortunately, I did not get to play King Knight because I had to leave a little bit early. This is the most scuffed way of deciding the order of characters, but sure. They're going to be typing out the orders at the same time. This is extremely scuffed, but sure, why not? Don't worry, guys, everything's okay. Yes, we were casting Milia, but also there is a King Knight on the board. I mean, there's a Rachel too, and Rachel's like fun, I guess. I don't know. Rachel is character I don't really cast a whole lot. Looks like the orders are set. It's going to be game 1, Bikin Shabacka, bottom half of your screen, versus Kai. Rose, top half of your screen. Game 2 is going to be Gold Lewis versus Rachel. And Game 3 is going to be the hype character versus the not so hype character. And yes, we're going to be extremely prejudicial as to who we root for in Game 3. Because I don't want to see Amelia win. I want to see King Knight win. I want to see King Knight win. By a lot. Looks like coin flip was on Heaven, so Rose will be going first. She's, of course, rocking the Kai. We've seen a good amount of Kai. Just a solid all-rounder character. Like, good move at on-curve range 3, above curve at range 4, fast dive. DP shape. Can be mid-speedy, but mostly just a dive. This is like a mid-speed kick shape, similar to Donkey Kick or what have you. And this is a slow fireball. Rose is also a different style of Kai than what I like to preach. I personally am generally an exceed as soon as possible Kai, but Rose loves playing these ultra. She loves both playing Ride the Lightning, which is a really, really just reliable, super reliable, slow 1 to 5. And then Sacred Edge, which of course is what Tiger Cannon. Both of these notably have gain advantage on them. Meanwhile, Baiken. So Baiken's UAs that she can pull and then strike. And she has some powerhouse cards as well, right? So she has an above curve. It's kind of like a reverse dive. And Shabacka rolls my card back as well. This is a thing of beauty. Baiken has Axe Kick for some reason. I don't really get this one. She just was a +3 power. Oh, she just +3 power, but take 3 damage now. Interesting. Karakawari, Karada Kawari, excuse me, is a mid-speed shape that beats Sweep at range 1. She has Tetami Geishi, which is just a super good, a super reliable shape here. 1 to 3, speed 4, 5 delta, not bad. Draws you 1 card as well. Of course, Hiragi, which is a pretty dang good counterattack. Take a look at those stats there, right? Speed 3, so it's a little bit faster for a counterattack. It's reminiscent of a Yanagi shape, right? Except this gets pumped up to 7 total power. Kenju is actually also that Tiger Cannon shape, except it's only 2 gauge. Very similar to this card. Except only hits 2 to 5. It's much cheaper, but it's 2 less power. But always hits, right? Always hits. And then, of course, we have a little mini Metsushoryu. If you hit the passive requirements as well. So we are off to a Rose prepping here. Of course, both characters do have speed 5 moves here at range 4. Rose with the Stun Dipper and Baiken with the Kabari. Kai, of course, has more of a rich mix-up here because he has a slow fireball as well in the Stun Edge. Although at only 3 power, it's not really a card to be too worried about at range 4. Anyway, it's going to be Baiken's turn here. Normally, in earlier seasons, prepping turn 1 was kind of like a thing that was, as we see, momentary life boosted. Actually boosting the adding Kabari to gauge. Normally, like prepping on turn 1 was like a thing that was quote unquote like not uncounterable, but like force player 2 to do something. But of course, in season 7 we have the Let's Rock boost. So prepping actually gets countered pretty nicely by the Let's Rock boost, since it puts a little bit more pressure on player 1 to actually do something, while still maintaining max hand size. So it's a fun little thing that's been added to season 7. That's missing from earlier seasons is the answer to the turn 1 prep. Like, what do you do? Because oftentimes you feel forced to do something, and you're not gonna prep discard. But Let's Rock lets you kind of pass turn while still threatening to gain a good amount of value there, right? So, but anyway, it's a Shabacka boosting the momentary life, so it actually doesn't matter. It's gonna be a key charge boosted from Rose. That's gonna be Hope, added to your gauge. We'll cancel Retreat 1 and move to range 5. Of course, at range 5. The only card that hits for Kai is Stun Edge or the Fordur Arc. However, Baiken has no card that hits at range 5. So pretty sure this is just a free Stun Edge. Just to build a bit of gauge, I guess. I mean, we'll do 1 damage after armor. Could technically be the Fordur Arc, but I don't think it is. Maybe try to bait out slow here. No. It is the Stun Edge for Kai, which will go first. We'll hit for up to 1 damage, but of course, it's actually going to be just blocked by Baiken. Baiken has 4 and 8 armor. We'll just tank that. Kai decides not to move forward. We'll stick at range 5. Of course, Baiken has a UA that can just pull Kai closer, but of course that does spend resources to do so. So, Rose may want to coax that out. That should be coaxing out the area shift instead. Which will be cancelled into strike. Now this makes no sense because you could just... What? What? You could just... What? What? You could just... There was no need for this. You could just not... Oh, wait, hold on. There is a need for it. I guess you get under the threshold, but doesn't... I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter for this range, right? I guess it could be the Hiragi. Like threatening the early Hiragi. Oh, okay. No. I like this a lot. Threatening the early Hiragi and then goes for the dive. Okay, I respect this. At first I was like, what's the play here? But no, I forgot that Baiken actually has a useful card at that range. Because I just remembered the Axe Kick and the Metsushoryu. But okay, no. Good play there by Shabacka. Very interesting mix-up there by Shabacka. It works out for him. Deals 5 damage to Rose and coaxes out a sweep as well. Anyway, it's going to be Kai boosting the Shock State. Now draw 1 hit, +1 power, gain advantage. Shabacka, of course, with only 2 cards, probably just has to prep. So I'm assuming Kai will just strike here. Trying to take advantage of the hit gain advantage that she has. Didn't need to drop the cross. Did Shabacka only have 4 cards in hand? I can't remember. If Shabacka only had 4 cards in hand, then yeah. Probably did not. Oh yeah, because Shabacka ended up with 2. Shabacka ended up with 2 cards and then prepped to 4, right? So yeah, didn't actually need to drop the cross for the threshold. So yeah, never mind. We're back in confused territory. We're back in like not strictly bad, but like pretty, like 99.9% of the time bad place. Anyway, it's going to be Kai initiating a strike just as we predicted. It's the grasp into the focus. 2 for 4 here. Shabacka will draw a card, get up to 4. Builds gauge number 3. Kai builds gauge number 2. However, gains advantage. So like I said, we would see a lot of Kais just exceed at some point, right? With 2 gauge, maybe not right away, but right away you can exceed because of course you have a key charge. But Rose is not the type of Kai player to exceed. She prefers threatening those ultra shapes instead that we talked about earlier. So yeah, she's just going to prepare, and she's halfway to her ultras. Back to Baiken here. Baiken can exceed, although I don't think we'll see it. Maybe Baiken's exceed is not. So Baiken's exceed allows you to pull past yourself, and also gives you +1 power. Although I don't think it has a kicker. That's one of those ones where it's like Baiken's an incredibly strong character. Don't get me wrong, but it's one of those where it's just like exceed really worth it there. Anyway, it's going to be hidden weapon boosted, +1 power. Now, if you have 3 or fewer cards in hand, draw 1, take another action. Very strong boost. And it's going to be Baiken. You probably wants to take that one back. Shabacka, have you read your kit, my friend? Okay, Shabacka will just go ahead and go for that early exceed. So notably, this is kind of like one of those trick exceeds where it really costs 4 gauge, right? Because of course it costs a gauge to use the action as well. So Shabacka has no gauge, so he can't use this action yet. But of course, it's like preparing for the future, I guess. No longer threatening the 158. though, is Shabacka. So Kai, in theory, has free range to just strike with like a cross or something. But let's see what Rose does here. It's 2 gauge. So can cancel. In fact, it's going to be a scramble cancel here. Moves back to range 2 and strikes. It is the cross. Wild Swing Spike. Wild Swing Dust is not going to do it. It's going to be 3 damage incoming. Kai moves back to range 5, where of course Kai cannot be hit. Baiken cannot pull either without gauge. Unless Baiken wants to spend another area shift, but unfortunately one of those is already in the can for no value. Maybe it's just it's a big don't worry guys, it's a big brain play for, you know, when life total when Kai's at 5 HP, so wondering, hey, how am I gonna get rid of cards there? And it's like, well, I got rid of that cross on turn 3, and that brought me on the threshold for my axe kick to work. Anyway, it's gonna be swagger boosted for Baiken. So we close up to 2, draw 1, closes the full 2. And Rose says my hand is trash. It's in fact 2 blocks, a slash, and a Ride the Lightning. Chooses CC5, drawing 6. Kind of was thinking maybe Rose would just strike with the assault there, but wants to maintain her distance against Baiken clearly. So just drops those cards. Doesn't want to find herself at range 1. And so does not decide to strike with a slash is my guess. It's going to be Baiken boosting Let's Rock. Draws up to 6, and of course gets a little bit of juice on the next attack. Rose will be out of blocks. Maybe that plays into the game later when Baiken builds more gauge. And threatens like 6 speed moves. Okay, back to Rose here. Gonna go ahead, boost Holy Orders, +1 speed, hit gain advantage. We'll cancel it, move to range 2, and strike. So Kai threatening something like a kick shape here. Could be second above curve cross, I guess. Could be on curve a slash. Could just be a mix up with a speed 4 spike, or dust, excuse me. A lot of options here for Kai. Range 2 is one of his premier ranges. In fact, it is the dust, but Shabacka calls it out with the range 2 defensive assaults. Wow. Two early reads going the way of Shabacka. First to dive over the sweep, and now the slash counteracting the dust. And Shabacka off to an early lead, builds gauge number 2. And Rose spent a gauge on that, right? So Rose spent a cancel on that dust. But Shabacka calls it out correctly with the slash. Well done. Rose down to just 16 HP. With 1 gauge to her name. It's going to be Mirror of the World boosted. Stun immunity before for each point of damage taken to strike, +1 power. So can be a scary boost. Really need to pair it with a slow, obviously. Notably, Rose down both her blocks and a focus. So Rose could just be completely out of slow options, right? And it would be incredibly awkward if she was forced to go first with something like sweep. In fact, Rose just preps. Again, she just has 1 focus to her name. So if Baiken strikes with focus, that's a It's a pretty good looking strike there for Baiken. It's gonna be the momentary life boosted, so +2 armor. Now you may add a card to gauge, and we'll cancel it immediately into strike. So now just basically just boosts +2 armor, now strike for a force. And if this is focus, then I don't know. It's gonna be pretty tough. I mean, obviously Kai has ways to avoid focus, right? Can boost vapor thrust, can play vapor thrust. But it's actually going to be the ignore. It's going to be the axe kick, which goes first. We'll hit for 5. Focus. Rose actually did draw second focus. Okay, and she will hit back for 2. So Shabacka only down to 2 cards left in hand, but has a massive life lead up 23 to 11. Builds gauge number 3 as well. For second Surane Sanzu Watashi, which is just an 8-speed counterattack at range 1. Not even a counterattack, just an 8-speed. I will always go first move, unless you're fighting like a chip or something. And, well, I mean, Kai does have the resources, right? Kai does have the resources to make a comeback. Kai, not really a comeback character too much, although he does have some ways to chain advantage to make up health deficits. And it's going to be Rose boosting Roar of the Spark. It's going to be draw 2. Surely it will be cancelled. Cancels it with the focus. Can, of course, move back to range 2, and I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. Although Rose hesitating a bit to move back to range 2. And we'll strike, probably. I mean, Vapor Thrust is a card. What if Rose attempts to strike with second Dust here, if she has it? Oh, it doesn't do a whole lot. Notably, we are at a range where Baiken can have... oh, actually, Baiken's on both of these, so Kenju is not an option. Second Axe Kick could be an option, I guess. And by Axe Kick, of course, I mean the Yuzansen. The reason I call it Axe Kick is, of course, if you are familiar with the Street Fighter set, Ken has a 156 ignore armor before close 1. Or 10, I mean, it's 156 when you create it, but... That just to be Rose boosting +1 speed. Be just or be dead. After the opponent's stun, draw 1. Huh. So not quite a speedy play, but of course Baiken doesn't have a whole lot of kits. It's going to be Baiken initiating a strike into the +1 speed. Says, I don't care. Says, Rose, I'm going to make you guess. Am I going fast? Am I going slow? Will Rose respond with something like a defensive dust to beat the slow? Can she? Could this be like a potential Haraki? We have not seen Haraki yet, I think. Oh my! It's Shabacka calling out the second dust with dive. Dives over Kai. Rose tries to make a call out with the second dust. And oh no. That's going to be 5 more damage on the board. Kai down to just 6 HP. I mean, Baiken with only 1 card in hand, but has a whole bunch of gauge to CC if Shabacka really wants to at this juncture. Wow. So now that's, what, read number 3 from Shabacka there? Really, really good stuff here early on. That's going to be Baiken using the UA. Pull 2 +1 power. Threatening 4 power grasp. Threatening 7 power sweep. Threatening 6 power axe kick. With Baiken on 6. That is such a scary mix-up. That is this is like a axe kick sweep mix up where both of them can kill. That is so scary. Rose wild swings. It's the Hiragi. It's the grasp. And Hiragi, Wild Swing Grasp will go first. Will hit for, doesn't matter. Hiragi will, of course, counterattack for 1 billion damage. And that's going to be it. Shabacka with a just devastating Game 1 victory. Wow. That was decisive. Wow. Well played from Shabacka. That was three reads. 3 successful reads there. And closes it out with a dominant Game 1 win. Anyway, moving on to Game 2. Of course, this is a best of 3 matchup. We have Shabacka on the Gold Lewis. We'll have Rose with the Rachel. So Rose is now a Rachel main. I've fought her Rachel countless times, although I've not fought it with the Gold Lewis before. Rachel, of course, gets to put garbage on the board, and then her garbage can be returned from the opponent's space on an after to deal 2 non-lethal damage. Of course, she has some zonery type cards. She has the Lobelias, 2 to 5, 5 speed, and then 3 to 6, 4 speed with a little bit of guard on it. She has a focus like, I guess. She's an ignore armor move, which can be pretty devastating. And then, of course, she has a 6 speed range 3 move. Her ultra's pretty good as well. I mean, this just catches you at times, and it's just like, well, there's nothing I can do about it besides move beforehand. Tempest Dahlia, of course, and a super fast fireball. Basically, like, only loses a sweep or like trades with sweep and beats everything else. Gold Lewis, of course, has 8 specials. We're not going to go through all of them, but oops, let's not go that way. But it's definitely more of a melee brawler type character, likes to initiate a lot of strikes and likes to keep going. With, of course, once he exceeds, he can draw 2 when his specials hit. So, and obviously starts with a larger hand. So Gold Lewis definitely a character that I feel like if Rachel loses a couple early, if Rachel wins a couple early strikes, then I think she's good. But if Rachel loses a couple early strikes and she's down on resources, we can see, and we have seen in the past, right? We've seen a couple of Andrel's videos. I actually met Andrel on Saturday, fun fact. But we've seen a couple of Andrel's videos where he just kind of snowballs the Gold Lewis victory on account of just having superior resources to the opponent. So if Gold Lewis is able to smother Rachel, then could be a 2-0. Anyway, it's gonna be just Gold Lewis boosting the dash. Should draw one for end of turn. There you go. Back to Rachel here. The way I can see Rachel winning this is if she gets some key high value strikes with lights and fierces. So fierce whirlwinds, light dives, light spikes, fierce tempest dahlias. Gets good recursion going as well, because Gold Lewis isn't the most mobile character. This is the way I would foresee Rachel winning into Gold Lewis. I'm not claiming that's impossible or anything. I'm not even claiming that's favored for Gold Lewis or Rachel. I actually have no idea, but this is the way I would foresee Rachel beating Gold Lewis. It's going to be Perry. Perry's down with the system. Perry whiffs. We see a big hand here. We see a hand of 0, 1, 3, 4, 6, 7. Swing and slam. So one of every ultra. Or one of every special, basically, outside of sweep and slash. And swing, which is the range 2, speed 6 on offense. Gains you advantage and closes you a little bit. And the slam, which is pretty good card, right? Just fairly reliable card. Although not at range 1, obviously. Of course, Rose is playing a Season 5 character, so parry is an option for... reading is an option for Rachel. So that's something that Shabacka will probably just have to parry. Surely Shabacka does not take a risk there. Just parry the focus. It's something that if you're not used to the cross-counter matchups, the cross-seasonal matchups, you may forget. I know I definitely have, because I'm not used to playing against non-Season 7 characters with Season 7. It's going to be Shabacka instead with a big change card. Change card 6, trying 7. Sure, I guess this is another way. Change cards 5, drawing 6, keeping the focus in hand. Drops the focus. Change card 6, drawing 7. That's one copy of every normal down except for sweep for Shabacka. Very interesting. Just gonna be holding a bunch of specials. And I guess that's basically this is a way to counteract double reading, because of course, if Rose had EX focus in hand, one gets parried and the second one just reads anyway. But it's going to be Rose boosting the spike drop as a Lotus Barrel, so she places a Lightning Rod underneath Gold Lewis. Gold Lewis, of course, not the most mobile character. And of course, Rachel can recur this card as an after, right? So if Gold Lewis happens to be caught on the Lightning Rod, Rachel on after can pick up this card, which is a block, to deal 2 non-lethal damage. So Rachel has kind of she has recursion, although it's not as reliable as a character like Nine or Hawkman or what have you. But there's recursion in this kit. Something to watch out for. It's gonna be Gold Lewis boosting flawless defense. Okay, says I'm not afraid of this lightning rod at all. Interesting, very interesting. Back to Rachel here. I'm assuming Rachel does some form of move back and strike with the UX. Of course, Rachel can close or retreat and then take another action. It's a very expensive UA as far as force is concerned, but if Rachel has the cards, then she can become just this very annoying character to deal with, as she just moves away and strikes from a distance. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens here. Yep, she spends the actually second block, and will instead of striking, we'll just boost light, so +2 speed. The bane of Season 7 in a lot of ways, unless of course they have the Ukami. The faultless defense will gauge itself at start of turn. Gold loses 1/2 of the way to succeed. Although maybe Shabacka is more of a down with the system guy, and who knows. Ooh, okay, so gonna be fighting the +2 speed by boosting Kiss of Death. So +1/+1 can spend 2 force to strike. So is down 1 speed. But is playing a mix-up here, and so far Shabacka has won all of the mix-ups, I will say. Feels like Slasher. I don't think it's Cross, but feels like Slash to me, just to get out of the way of the Lightning Rod. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rose defends above curve here. And yeah, Rose does defend above curve, sustains the lights with the Whirlwind, but it's actually sweep here. So the Whirlwind will go first, will hit for 3. The Lightning Rod will be returned for 2 more damage, so the block returns to the hand of Rachel. And sweep will go ahead to hit back for 7. And we'll drop a random card as well. We're just waiting for Shabacka to go get a card from Rose's hand here. Wait. Okay. Drops the focus. Good pull. +2 speed stays in play for Rachel, however. Maybe she can get better value out of it this strike, as of course it is now Rachel's turn. Jump back strike is a bit expensive, but could be worth it. Although maybe cornering yourself isn't the best play, because then a card like Behemoth Typhoon Rise comes out to play with one roll, one down. So that's one of the downsides of Rachel UA, right? Rachel cannot advance on front side. She can advance on backside, but we don't really see too many Rachels exceed. But of course on front side she can only close. She cannot advance and crossover. So not a whole lot of space behind her. Rachel finds herself on short side of the board here for the time being. Okay. Spends that block from hand and boosts Fierce. Now this is a pretty scary boost setup we've got going on here. +2 power, +2 speed. Don't think Shabacka can... Unless Shabacka just wants to lose the strike. Don't think you should be just exceeding here. Although, baby Shabacka says, yeah, I'm just going to lose the strike and we'll flip. Of course, Gold Lewis does get a bit of a reload here. Draws 2. So up to 8 cards. And maybe that's okay. Because what? Rachel's max damage is like, what? 7 off a spike there. And then you get to counter hit for big damage. But Rose actually just preps herself. Says, I'm in a pretty dominant position. And it's going to be Shabacka initiating a strike here. Surely Rose just dives over. And yeah, Rose does dive over. It's the Behemoth Typhoon Slam, which does block some damage, right? So it's going to be 7 damage dive coming in. Gold Lewis takes 4 and is stunned. But the +2/+2 now goes away. Shabacka only had a 2 HP deficit, so honestly not the worst. I mean, you're going to lose that strike anyway. I'm just surprised that Shabacka initiated it, but that's okay. Yeah, obviously this was beating nothing. Just there. Just play to get some armor on the board and hope you don't get spiked in return. Rachel, of course, could have played Spike, but would have lost to defensive slash, or offensive slash, excuse me. So chose not to do so. Back to Rachel here. Now at center of the board, so has some space behind her, finally. 2 gauge so far. That's me, Rachel boosting defend. That's +1 armor, +3 guard. Back to Gold Lewis here. Wouldn't be surprised if Gold Lewis just swings. And yeah, Gold Lewis just swings. Ton of melee options that Gold Lewis has. It's just going to be the Assault for Rose going first. Behemoth Typhoon Smash will hit back for 4. So the Assault will go. Assault will go first, hit for 2. And Smash will go ahead and hit back for 3 because Rose had 1 armor. Rose builds gauge number 3. Gold Lewis draws 4 cards, courtesy of the UA and the after effect on Smash. And it's kind of happening, right? It's kind of happening. Gold Lewis is slowly amassing those resources. Rose has to prep. Yeah, Rose has to prep. Wouldn't be surprised to see another Gold Lewis strike. Gold Lewis has 10 cards in hand. And it's going to be a scramble cancel. It's going to be the Behemoth Typhoon Swing, which will go first. We'll hit for 3. Wild Swing Electric Chair performs extremely well here. We'll hit back for 5. Gold Lewis does gain advantage and draw 2 off it. It's not the end of the world. A little bit worse for wear on the health, but both players do draw some cards. Of course, Gold Lewis draws more and gets advantage as well. So Gold Lewis with a hand of 10. Rachel with a hand of 7 with 4 gauge. So Rachel actually keeping up quite well with the resource game, and is poised to be able to have a fighting chance here against Gold Lewis. A lot of other matchups we've seen with Gold Lewis. Gold Lewis is able to kind of run over the opponent by building way too many resources, but Rose has been able to keep up here. It is going to be Gold Lewis boosting Absolute Defense. Opponents cannot advance past you. Cancels it and strikes. And, excuse me, boosts huge plus 0 on range. Hit, push, pull 1. This is a interesting boost setup here. Why boost this? To prevent second dive? Rachel doesn't really have any. I mean, Rachel can technically advance with like a Bin Lily, I guess. But there's no lightning rods on the board. Just says, don't dive over me, and then I'm going to hit you with a big sweep. Is what I'm reading this as. But I'm not really 100% sure, I'll be honest. I guess it just kind of does gauge itself at the start of turn. Yeah, I mean Rose looking at the discard, trying to figure out what kind of threat is being posed by Gold Lewis here. It is still Rose's turn. Rose's taking a good amount of time to think. I feel like Rose is generally a pretty fast player, but she's been taking her time this set. Of course, nothing wrong with that. It's going to be an expenditure of 2 force. That Tempest Dahlia will be spent to jump back to range 3 and boost initiative plus 1 speed. Gold Lewis's Absolute Defense will be added to gauge. Still has the plus 0 to 1 range, so in theory, can can match on the speed curve, right? With a card like Cross or a card like Bohemian Typhoon Swing also would hit. It's been Gold Lewis initiating strike here. I mean, mix up City once more. Has a speed 6 option. Rosen will be out of speed 6 option, speed 7 options, speed 7 EX options, right? Both Whirlwind and Tempestalia are down, which is why I was kind of shocked to see Rose spend the Tempestalia in the first place. But okay, it's gonna be Gold Lewis trying to be sneaky and play the slash, but Rose calls it out with the defensive above curve Whirlwind. We'll hit for 3. Sustains the initiative as well for the next strike. And, well, one cheeky read too many for Shabacka here. One cheeky read too many. As Rose had the super above curve option, right? Speed 7 would have beaten the swing. Let's be Rose jumping back to range 4 and striking. 1 block down for Gold Lewis. Notably, Lobelias do trade with Burn It Down, but this Ultra does big damage against the Burn It Down. Right, so Flying Lobelia and Tiny Lobelia both trade with Burn It Down, which has 6 guard. Oh wait, never mind. There's no gauge. I don't know what I'm talking about. Gold Lewis is just kind of a sitting duck here. And yeah, it's gonna be Flying Lobelia. Which will go first. We'll push the slam out of the way. At least the slam will negate all the damage. But Gold Lewis gets pushed back to range 5. We'll take no damage, but is kind of out in no man's land. And does Gold Lewis have the block? Because this feels like Tempestalia coming out. That's range 5. I mean, could be the Flying Lobelia. Could be second copy of Flying Lobelia. Could be Tiny Lobelia. Gold Lewis with the Wild Swing. That's not a good sign. And yeah, it's going to be the Tempestalia, which will hit for 7 once Rose removes this Ice Spike. Ice Spike. This, what is it, Flower Petal? Lightning Rod. There we go. That's the verb. It's the noun I'm looking for. Flower Petal. Where did I get Flower Petal from? Anyway, I'll go Lewis down to just, what, 5 HP or something? 6 HP, 5 HP. 4 HP once the rod gets removed. Push 2, close 2. Ratio at range 5. Gold Lewis is going to have to move up. Only 4 HP. Rosa successfully kept Gold Lewis out. It's going to be the Skyfish boosted. Now spent up to 3 force for each force spent. Close 1. So Gold Lewis has spent 2 force thus far and spends the full 3 to move to range 2. The issue with this is... Okay, we'll get cancel. The issue with this is Gold Lewis doesn't have very much resources left. Has 4 cards in hand and 0 engage. Just initiate a strike. Just basic mix-up here. I think Rose will just defend on card with Cross or Wild Swing. Wild Swings. Wild Swings the Chair. Chair will actually miss. The Typhoon Rise will go first. We'll hit for 6. Chair will miss. Unfortunately, we're pushing Rachel back to range 4, where Gold Lewis is kind of just a sitting duck. And Rachel says, okay, I'm going to exceed. Let's look at Rachel's exceed side. So Rachel's exceed side allows her to kind of put on her Viper cosplay with the overdrive, right? So an overdrive you can play continuous boost from your hand. So this allows her to play continuous boost and take another action like strike, for example, or her UA. Her UA also becomes a lot more dangerous. It allows for closing, not only closing and retreating, but also pushing or pulling as well. So it's very expensive, right? Because from the overdrive, you spend a card from your hand, and then if you use the UA, you're spending force on top of that. But it's very, very potent at closing out games. So we can see something like +2 speed spike, maybe closing out the game. Right, +2 speed, boost +2 speed with the overdrive, spend a force to pull Gold Lewis into range 3. Then Strike with Spike at speed 5, and there's not really a whole lot that Gold Lewis can do about it. There's actually nothing that Gold Lewis can do about it. Maybe a second cross, actually, but plays like that. So it's a very expensive Exceed side, which you don't see Rachel pull out a whole lot. But when Rachel does pull it out and has the resources to spend, it can be pretty devastating. Anyway, it's going to be Gold Lewis boosting that area shift to pull Rachel to range 2 and strike. Fortunately, I think Rachel just defends with cross here. Oh, Rachel actually defends with focus, and it's the crush. But that is okay because crush will hit back for 4 because focus is not, or focus will hit back for 4 because it has 5 guards, so it will not be stunned out there. And Rachel takes game number 2. So we are moving on to game number 3. And this is the moment we've all been waiting for. I know you guys have been waiting for it, and I certainly have. It's Milia for the... No, I'm just kidding. It's not Milia. Well, Milia is on the board. But more exciting than Milia, it's my boy King Knight coming out from Shabacka. And we are going to be shamelessly rooting for Shabacka here. King Knight is one of my favorite characters in all of Exceed. Big boosty boy character. Let's see how he performs into card quality Queen Milia. We've seen Milia's kit 1,000 times. King Knight is kind of a brawler type character. A lot of his attacks are melee range. I think all of his attacks are melee range, actually. Maybe he has a... Yeah, I mean, outside of Fast Dive, all his attacks are melees. Has decrees that he can boost. Of course, when King Knight boosts, he draws a card. So, kind of a boss archetype character, although not the strongest of characters. Especially in a lot of people's tier lists, but definitely one of my favorite characters. So take a look at the King Knight boost, King Knight kit here. Excuse me. We have Healing Hammer, which allows for... I mean, it's the Force special, so it just causes Force. But has one of the few healing abilities in Exceed, so you can heal and rebuild some gauge as well. Good boost as well, +1 speed, now move up to 2 for 1 Force. And of course, King Knight, we'll take a look at the UA first. After King Knight boosts with a decree or a regular continuous boost, he draws a card on top of his card draw at the end of a turn as well. So we have Scepter Slam, which is a fast dive shape, although you do have to spend force to actually deal damage with this card. Unsteady Ground is actually a pretty good boost that I feel like is pretty underutilized by a lot of King Knight players, but this boost is very good, especially when the opponent has no gauge and just cannot respond, right? Spin Jump is kind of a mid-speedy shape, although generally this card will just be on curve or above curve even, and performs similarly to Cross Up. And allows for another boost to be sustained. Edict is a decent boost as well. Scepter Smite is the mid-speed shape. It's not a great card, because as a mid-speed shape, it doesn't actually beat Focus or Sweep without additional power boosted. Of course, with additional power boosted, that's when this card becomes a little bit scary as the red number grows. Charge Up also a decent boost. Shoulder Bash, Sweep-like shape. Hits 1 to 3. Good positioning on this as well. Brutal Coronation is a little bit of a reload boost because, of course, the now basically reads now drop to 5. King of Cards is generally the win con that we see a lot of King Knight players go for. This can regularly hit for 12 damage or 15 damage. Notably, that boost is pretty decent as well. Just gives you more lights, and lights we know perform really well into Season 7. So I wonder if Shabacka will go for an Exceed game plan over a King of Cards game plan. I think a new mistake that a lot of King Knight players make, sorry, not new, noob as in N-O-O-B, as a new player, I think a noob mistake that a lot of King Knight players go for is thinking that King of Cards is the only win con that King Knight has, and that's far from the truth. Especially with extra lights, and lights, as we know, perform really well into Season 7. And of course we have the Victory Trumpets. A little bit of a trick shot. You don't really see this a whole lot. Unless, 3 boosts are in play, and then, I don't know, you just happen to have this, right? I feel like you don't really play for Victory Trumpets. It's just, if it happens, it happens, and it's great. But, yeah, and that's the King Knight kit. So, generally a lot of melee options here, right? 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 4, dive-like, and 1 to 2. So definitely a melee bruiser type character. Let's how he does into Milia. Milia we've seen a million times, so we're not gonna look at the kit. Anyway, it's gonna be unsteady ground boosted. Of course, this costs a force. Which will pull Milia to range 2. And then King Knight can take another action. Okay, King Knight spends dive to boost unsteady ground. Of course, it's not. Season 7 where we get pull boost for free. Unsteady ground costs a force, unfortunately. But has taken another action on it. Has unconditional taken. Well, no, it's conditional, but in this case, we pass the condition. So and just sets a strike. So this is pretty aggressive, leaving King Knight on a little bit of a vulnerable hand. Although a vulnerable hand can be reloaded with a boost like Brutal Coronation, but this is pretty aggressive. I wonder if this is undercurve here for King Knights. Cross is kind of a weird shape to play here because it puts Milia back at range 4, which is kind of Milia's wheelhouse especially in this particular matchup. Oh no, it's Rose with the EX slash, and I don't get that at all. I'm sorry, that's just not. That's not it. No, that's not it. That's not an option that wins ever. I don't like that at all. That's such an expensive turn 1. Oof. Anyway, it's going to be the EX slash for Milia, which will go first. We'll hit for 5. We'll stun the 0 defenses of the Scepter Smite. And then Milia, of course, with the UA, will choose to draw 1 card. Not a good start for King Knight. And yeah, it's just going to be Milia striking again. Wonder if this is cross to move back to range 4. It is cross to move back to range 4. You want to swing your king cards as well. Shoulder bash, while it misses, does allow you to choose your range afterward. So probably you should just stick at range 2. Range 1's also acceptable. Chooses range 1. But with only 2 cards in hand. 1 Brutal Coronation down. Okay, luckily the second one's in hand, so we do drop to 5. Shabacka not familiar with King Knight. Is this Shabacka's first time playing King Knight? Because doesn't know that Brutal Coronation draws you 5. And it's like mandatory draw up to 5. Huh. Maybe this is Shabacka's first time on King Knight. Definitely an interesting time to pull out the character, I will say. Anyway, you get a little bit extra stats on the Brutal Coronation as well. +1 power, +1 armor, +1 guard. Roche just prepares. Shabacka just gonna go ahead and strike. So this is definitely a strike-heavy King Knight instead of boosting one. So that's interesting. But sure, I mean, striking is maybe fine here. You do have a little bit extra juice, right? You can't just defend with sweep if you're Milia. Focus is a good Milia strike here, but Rose probably doesn't have it. Just think about how her hesitation. Okay. Now I'm just confused. It's Shabacka striking. Shabacka chooses range 1, then proceeds to strike with Undercurve Healing Hammer, which loses to Defensive Grasp. And now we're at range 4. Melee boosts Writhe in Pain, +1 power, hit push pull 1 with a sweep effect. Okay, I'm not really sure what the game plan here is for Shabacka, I'll be honest. He's now down 10 life. Back to King Knight here. King Knight probably needs to move in. Unfortunately, I mean, King Knight does have an above curve option in the Scepter Slam. One is down. In fact, Shabacka just boosting the second one. Pulling Milia in, forcing Milia to spend a gauge, but Milia has a billion gauge. Milia chooses not to spend because King Knight has only one card in hand. Oh, don't strike with that, Shabacka, please. Don't strike with that. Okay, thank you. Shabacka just preps. Back to Milia here. Milia preps once more. Milia, of course, has King Knight in the corner. So I mean, a card that gets to get the corner is something like Spin Jump, which is under curve, notably. Milia, of course, has an on curve option in Bad Moon. But Spin Jump will get King Knight out of the corner, I guess. Although maybe advancing 4 is not the best play. Anyway, back to King Knight here. King Knight's luckily is a character that can rebuild resources somewhat more quickly than the average character. On account of the UA and on account of a boost like Royal Tribute. But instead, we're going to be just striking here for King Knight, okay? A lot of raw strikes here for King Knight, I will say. Hopefully this one works out. Is that Rose responding with EX Bad Moon? No, it's EX Iron Savior. Okay, the 1-5 sweep. Focus will go first. We'll hit... Or, sorry. EX Iron Savior will go first. We'll hit for 5 after armor. We'll have a sweep effect on it as well. Pulls out the Spin Jump. Of course, Spin Jump. Okay, just making sure health totals are correct, and looks like they are. Iron Savior will go first, will hit for 5 after armor. Focus, not stunned, will hit back for 3 after armor. First hit of the game for King Knight, although King Knight finds himself at half HP. It's going to be second Writhe in Pain boosted. Cancelled into a strike here. Wonder if this is a cross again. No, it's just a 7 damage sweep. Oh, Shabacka Wild Swings block. Well, there are 2 sweep effects here, right? And Shabacka, well, he can spend 1 force and take 3 damage. And should, but... Interestingly, Milia pulls King Knight out of the corner. Shabacka replaces Gauge and takes 3 damage for it. Shabacka down to just 12. King Knight with no hand. Yeah, this has been a pretty cursed King Knight game from turn 1, I think. Yeah, I just generally just put on the back foot really early on, and then just unable to get anything going. King Knight preps, Milia preps. King Knight probably has to prep again out of Brutal Coronations. Can boost maybe can boost Victory Trumpets maybe. to change as essentially to change cards and boost. Shabacka just preps once more. Back to Milia here. Rose now preps up to 7. King Knight maybe now he boosts trumpets here. We're just striking again. We're King Knight. I don't understand. I'll be honest. I don't understand. Like, what are we even striking with if you're King Knight that is beneficial in any capacity here? You have 1 gauge. It's not an ultra. Are you? It's not like you have a mix-up here that's particularly threatening. Can't even heal. Although I don't think Healing Hammer is a good card to play here anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's a Grasp. Okay, sure. We win the mix-up here. Grasp does 3 damage to Milia. Pushes Milia into the corner. Swing Braid will get stunned out. Rose thinking that King Knight might go for a slow here. But no, plays Grasp. Anyway, Milia almost in range where Bad Moon into Bad Moon just kills. That is 8 damage. That's just 8 damage. King Knight not really utilizing any of the tools that I'd kind of I didn't really highlight them, but I would say I would like briefly went over. It's a parry. Parry is successful. Parry's the cross. Although if King Knight struck with cross, I think Milia is relatively happy with that. Keep King Knight at bay. Although Milia is out of her EX Iron Savior. Even then, I think. But no. Rose says no crosses for you. No on-curve options for you. And now strikes. Oh, maybe King Knight had. Oh, I'm pretty sure this is Bad Moon. Oh no, it's Swing Braid and EX Sweep. Oh no, those lights go down the drain. No, man, that is so unfortunate. Swing Braid will go first. We'll hit for 2 after armor, and EX Sweep will get stunned out. That is that. So that's why Cross is parried. So that way, I think yeah, I mean, it makes sense in hindsight, right? Rose just guarantees a combat win with the Swing Braid here. Shabacka is out of on-curve options. That we briefly talked about it, but I guess we didn't say it enough. We didn't highlight it enough that Swing Braid just became an unbeatable combat card. Anyway, Shabacka boosts something for the first time, and then takes it back. Okay, Shabacka boosts Royal Tribute, draw 2 cards, and then he may take the boost action. Takes a look at those decrees. Boosts +2 power, +2 armor. Has, of course, spend to do so. Spends 1, 2, 3. Keeps a gauge for some reason. And we'll draw 2. So +2 power, +2 armor on the board for King Knight. Finally, we have some stats. But, I mean, hey, we've got King Knight boosting. That's a plus. That's a plus. Cannot be Ukami'd either, right? So that's a super plus. Does Cross nullify this setup? Does Shabacka have a Grasp left? I mean, the Let's Rock boosted. +1 power. And it's, I mean, Shabacka's time to strike, I guess. Has +2 power over Milia here. Doesn't have a whole bunch of cards. Preps once more, okay. Doesn't really have the options in hand, unfortunately. 5 in hand, 2 in deck for King Knight. 7 in hand, 10 in deck for Milia. I mean, King Knight is a character that goes through the deck faster than most other characters. Okay, it's going to be Amelia boosting Spider's Thread, +1 speed. Or, wait, hold on. Did not boost Spider's Thread? Oh, boosted, Love the Subhuman Self. Good. Did she do something else? I actually didn't notice. I tabbed out for 1 second. Well, anyway, +1 speed, +1 power. Probably just a 5 power Bad Moon that you can just shoulder bash out of. With hit gain advantage as well. Is this just an unbeatable setup that Rose has? Just gain advantage into another 5 power Bad Moon? Pretty sure it is. It's not? The Tandem Top will go first. It's on curve. It'll hit for, what, 2 after armor. And then, of course, Tandem Top has the dodging property. So Rose will just drop back to range 5. Or actually, no, she can advance to range 1 even and make the spike miss. So she'll do just that. Gets advantage as well. Wand Swing Spike will miss. +2/+2 goes to waste somewhat. I was expecting this to be a Bad Moon advantage chain into Bad Moon, but I guess not. Anyway, King Knight down to just 8 HP, and with 2 Bad Moons up, game feels over. Parry hits again, back to King Knight here. King Knight with 4 in hand, 1 in deck. It's very difficult to see how King Knight wins this game. King Knight does, I really do think EX Bad Moon is up for Amelia. And that's just 8 damage right there, above curve. King Knight doesn't really have speed boosts left, and even if he does, I mean, King Knight can't do 24 before Amelia does 8, surely. And it's going to be draw 2. Take the boost action off the Royal Tribute. What's going on here? We see a hand of 0-5-7, King of Cards. Shabacka will draw 1 more off the top and then may take the boost action. Should shuffle his hand. And we'll boost the other decree, the Lordly Might, +1 power, +2 speed, at the cost of 3 force. Spends the King of Cards, notably keeps normals in hand, but that's fine. Because we're of course fighting a season 7 character, so actually keeps the assault, keeps the grasp, and keeps the block, and boosts the Lordly Might and draws 2 off it. That's +1 power, +2 speed. Melee range, this is kind of difficult for Amelia to defuse. She can just kind of wait it out by blocking or something. Oh, not that King Knight has an ignore armor option, right? Can do that. Can also just leave, but and like force King Knight to chase, I guess. There's another way to defuse it. And then of course you're winning on deck pressure. Although not so much anymore. Amelia opting for the reshuffle action. I'm surprised to see a reshuffle happening before Bad Moons are spent, but maybe EX Bad Moon just in the hand. And we'll hit later. Doesn't really have to hit now. Okay, Shabacka with +1 power, +2 speed. Let's see what he does with it. At range 1, though, where speed doesn't really matter a whole lot, unfortunately. And it's going to be just a strike initiated. Notably, it's from the right side of the hand, so unless Shabacka shuffled his hand, like we know it's one of the 2 cards he's drawn. Spin Jump is an on-curve option at speed 7. It's going to be the Shoulder Bash, defended by EX Focus. So Shoulder Bash will go first, will hit for 3. EX Focus will hit back for 5. Of course, there's no way to dodge the EX Focus. At least King Knight gets out of the corner, but not a whole lot of life left. As that EX Focus will hit back for 5, putting King Knight at just 3 HP. And is Rose ready to finish the game off here? Does she have the winning cancel into Bad Moon? She has 6 gauge. Just has hit with everything. Where's the finisher here? It's going to be +4 guard. Cancelled. Strike. +4 guard, notably defense against EX Grasp. King Knight positions himself in a way that he can't spin jump out of the way of a Bad Moon, but in fact it's the Winger. Okay, sure. Playtime's over. It's a 7 power Winger. Shabacka actually blocks this successfully. But we'll have to spend a bunch of force. It's a 7 power move, of course. Melia moves, advances 2. Shabacka spends Grasp from hand. Needs to spends Die from hand as well. We'll take the 1. Okay. Down to just 1 card left in hand. At range 2. Not the place to be. There's really no good places for King Knight to stand and protect just a neutral state. Shabacka swings with Assault. It's cross for Amelia on curve defense, and it's gonna be game over. It's going to be game 3 going to Rose. Really shaky game 1, but came back strong in games 2 and game 3. And Shabacka kind of the opposite, like really strong game 1, but then a little bit shaky on game 2, and then this game 3 was a little bit cursed, I will say. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, you're on Twitch, feel free to follow. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the bell as well. If you're on YouTube and you're interested, there's some Yomi 2 content that I posted. But I have a feeling most of you are just not interested in that, which is fine. But other than that, don't have much more to say. Probably have some more matches later on in the week. Don't know when. As of yet. But generally I do stream around this time. Maybe 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. It's where you'll find me a lot of days if there is a match to be casted. This is the Backyard Brawl tournament run in the Breakfast Club Discord, of course. Any man, no. Post-match. Sorry, Shabacka, I don't do post-match interviews. You feel free to leave. I didn't even do a post-match interview for the final that I casted recently. But anyway, that's me for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully later this week we can catch some more Guilty Gear Strive, the board game action. But until then, guys, take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.